Hello viewers, in the previous episode we discussed on the overview of management, its evolution and other important aspects of management. In this episode, let us discuss the functions of management starting from management planning and organizing. After going through the first episode, you are now familiar with the basic functions of management: planning, organizing, actuating and controlling as listed by George R. Terry. According to him, planning is the first and foremost function of management and has a primacy over other functions of management. Planning is an attempt to anticipate the future in order to achieve better performance. Effective planning facilitates early achievement of objectives which depends on the efficiency of the planner. Planning involves selecting missions and objectives and deciding on the actions to achieve them. Plans thus provide a rational approach in achieving the predetermined objectives. Planning also strongly implies managerial innovation which enables effective controlling. Any attempt to control without plan is meaningless, since if there is no plan or the direction in which the organization has to proceed, then it would be difficult to entrust resources towards the direction. Meaning of planning: it is inherent human nature to think in advance about the future course of action, be it his personal life or organizational progress. When such activity is done, planning is said to have formed. In the words of Kuntz and O'Donnell, planning is deciding in advance what to do, how to do it, when to do it and who is to do it. It bridges the gap from where we are and to where we want to go. It is an essence that the management is the exercise of foresight. In simple, planning is deciding in advance what is to be done, when, where, how and by whom it is to be done. Thus, a plan is a predetermined course of action. It is an attempt on the part of the manager to anticipate the future in order to achieve better performance. Definitions of planning: in the management literature, the word planning has been defined by many management philosophers. Some of them are: according to Henry Fayol, planning is deciding the best alternative among others to perform different managerial operations in order to achieve predetermined goals. According to Haynes and Massey, planning is that function of manager in which he decides in advance what he will do. It is a decision making process of special kind. It is an intellectual process in which creative thinking and imagination are essential. Nature of planning: the nature of planning can be highlighted by the following aspects. The first one, planning is an intellectual process. Planning involves choosing the proper course of action among alternatives and call for decision making, which is an intellectual process. Planning helps the managers to decide what is to be done, when, how and who is to do it. Planning is the primary function. Planning is the primary function of the management. All other functions of management, organizing, coordinating, motivating, staffing, directing and controlling largely depend on planning. Planning is a continuous process, since it is not a one-time activity of manager to plan once and there is no need for further planning. A manager should continuously watch the progress of his plans and constantly monitor the conditions both within and outside the organization to determine if changes are required in his plans. Planning is an all-pervasive function. Currently, planning is not being looked as a job of top management. Planning extends to all the levels of management. It involves all departments, units of an organization. The individuals of the various levels of management involved in the process of planning. Planning requires flexibility. To make planning more successful, there should be some scope for flexibility. By flexibility of a plan means its ability to change direction to adapt to changing situation without undue cost. It needs to possess a built-in flexibility in at least 5 major areas: technology, market, finance, personnel and organization. Benefits of planning: Planning helps the businessman to get early success. Success without planning is almost impossible in organizations. So, planning function is very important due to the following reasons. Planning helps to focus on objectives. All the activities of the organizations are designed to achieve the framed objectives. However, planning makes the organization focus on the objectives of early achievement. It converts uncertainty into certainty. Future is full of uncertainties. Through forecasting, these uncertainties can be predicted. Planning evaluates the alternative course of action for continuous growth and prosperity of the organization. Economy and operation. Planning selects any one of the available alternative which will help produce best results at minimum cost. Planning tackles the increasing complexities of business. There is a need for many people with difficult qualifications to run the business. This makes necessary for the management to plan the business activity clearly. Effective control. Control is necessary only when there is a deviation in actual performance from the planned performance. Planning is clearly necessary for effective controlling. Without plans, there is no predetermined understanding of the desired performance. Effective utilization of resources. Planning involves deciding in advance of the business activities. When the business activities are completed without any delay, it leads to effective utilization of resource at cheapest and best manner. Avoiding business failures. Planning includes the selection of best alternatives, conversion of uncertainty into certainty, economy in operation, coordination, effective control and utilization of resources, and avoiding business failures. Basic principles of planning. The first important principle is that planning should be for the right length of time. The managers must decide how far ahead they should plan. Planning should be neither too short a time nor too far ahead. Planning must be in the right amount of detail. Generally, the shorter the term of the plan, the greater is to be the need for detail, and on the other hand, longer the term, the less detail will be necessary. The planner must explore and consider all possible courses of action possible. If there are no alternative course of action, there can be no real planning. Planning must have accuracy in forecasting. Planning must be performed by the right persons in the organization. When considering tentative proposals, then planner must take into account not only the effect of the main decision, but also on the other parts of the business. The next principle is to lay down of standards so that proper control systems can be devised. It is not only sufficient to make plans, they must be adequately communicated to the appropriate levels of management if they are to be carried out effectively. Particularly, planning for sales may never be 100% accurate. There are always external as well as internal factors which may affect the plans. Hence, plans should retain flexibility so that changes can be incorporated into them. Steps in planning. The process of planning is different from one plan to another. The important steps in planning process are: the first step is the analysis of external environment. It is necessary to analyze the external environment of an organization. The term external environment includes socio-economic conditions, political conditions, government, etc. Socio-economic conditions refers to the classification of the society on the basis of income, age, class, living conditions, etc. These factors are controllable ones. Political conditions refer to the stability of the government, but every organization has to prepare a plan according to changing trends in the external environment. The second step is the analysis of internal environment. This can be otherwise called resource audit. Resource audit means analysis of strengths and weakness of an organization. Due consideration is given only on the availability of resources, profitability, plant capacity, manpower, etc. The next step is the determination of objectives. In this step, the objectives of the organizations are pre-planned for both long term and short term. Once the objectives are determined, section wise or department wise objectives are planned. Defining the objectives of every department is very essential when only clear cut direction is available to the department. The control process becomes easy if the objectives are clearly defined. The fourth step is the determining the planning premises and constraint. The next logical step in the planning process is determining the planning premises. Premises are the assumptions about the environment in which the plan is to be carried out. It is important for all the managers involved in planning to agree on the premises. The fifth stage is determination of alternative courses of action. The fifth step in the planning process is to search for and examine alternative courses of action. The management should find alternative way and examine them in the light of planning premises. Weighing alternative courses of action. All the alternatives may not be suitable to an organization. Each alternative has its own strengths and weaknesses. So, there is a need for weighing all the alternatives to determine the best alternative. Selecting a course of action. Once the alternatives are screened for their strengths and weaknesses, one course may appear to be most profitable. So, the management may determine to choose the same. The determined course of action is adopted for each section or department for a month, week, etc. Finally, the manager should draft the final plan in definite terms. Formulation of action programs. The term action program includes fixing time, limits of performance, allocation of work to individuals, etc. These are necessary to achieve the objective within the specified period. Determining secondary plans. Secondary plans flow from basic plans. The preparation of secondary plan necessary for the achievement of the basic plan. For example, once the basic plans of sales is decided upon, a number of secondary plans could be prepared. Hence, the secondary plan includes production schedule, purchase of materials, purchase of plants and machinery, etc. Securing the participation of employees. The successful execution of any plan depends upon the extent of participation of the employees. So, the management should involve employees in planning through communication, consultation and participation. Follow-up and evaluation. There should be a system of follow-up. The management should watch how the planning being done. The shortcomings of planning can be identified through follow-up action and can be rectified. Continuous evaluation of the plan is also necessary. It means that the actual performance compared with the planning and then corrective action is taken if there are any deviations. Forms of planning. Planning can take many forms and styles in practice. Planning can also be done at various levels in different forms and styles. There are two important forms of planning. They are, the first one is the strategic planning. These are done at the top level of the management. It involves deciding the major goals and policies of allocation of resources and is for long term. Strategic planning is less detailed since it is not involved with the day-to-day operations of the organization. Tactical planning. These plans are done at the lower level of the management. It involves deciding the detailed use of resources for achieving each goal of the organization. Tactical planning is much detailed and for a short term and aims at the day-to-day operations of the organization. Limitations of planning. Planning suffers from certain limitations. The first one is planning is an expensive and time-consuming process as it involves significant amount of money, energy and also risk without any assurance of the fulfillment of the organizational objectives. Planning sometimes restricts the organization to the most rational and risk-free opportunities. It corrupts the initiative of the manager and forces him to operate within the limits set by such plans. For dynamic organizations, scope of planning is very much limited. Formulating accurate premises is difficult in the process of planning since future cannot be known with accuracy. Premising must be subject to a margin of errors. How to make planning effective? Following are some of the guidelines for making planning effective. The first one is coordination. Through proper coordination between such major plans and derivative plans, planning process can be made effective. The second one is the communication. Best planning occurs when every manager in the organization has communicated about the contents of the plan and the complete access to the complete information not only in his own area but also to others' areas. Participation. Participation of subordinates with superior is also a key element in making planning effective. It improves the understanding of the objectives and loyalty in the subordinates and makes execution of the plans easy. Proper climate. It is critical that top managers establish proper climate for planning. This involves stimulating planning interest among the rank and file of managers by setting their goals, establishing planning premises, communicating policies, and developing a tradition of change in the organization. Strategic planning. Strategy is the determination of the mission or purpose and the basic long-term objective of an enterprise, followed by the adoption of course of action and allocation of resources necessary to achieve these aims. Business Dictionary defines strategic planning as a systematic process of envisioning a desired future and translating this vision into broadly defined goals and objectives and a sequence of steps to achieve them. It means in a competitive situation, it is not enough to build plans logically from goals unless the plans take into account the environmental opportunities and threats and the organizational strengths and weaknesses. A corporate strategy is a plan in which these factors are taken into account and provides an optimal match between the firm and the environment. SWOT matrix for strategy formulation. The SWOT matrix is defined as the strengths, weaknesses, opportunities and threats. The best option is the SO, strengths and opportunity strategy, which capitalizes on a company's strengths to take the advantage of opportunities. It will be the most desirable. Indeed, it is the aim of any organization. The weakness and the opportunity strategy attempts to minimize the weakness and maximizes the opportunities. Thus, a firm with weaknesses in some areas may curb those weaknesses or acquire the needed competencies from outside to enable it to the advantage of opportunities in the external environment. The strengths and threats strategy is based on using the organization's strengths by using technological, financial, managerial or marketing to deal with threats like competition, changes in the business environment, etc. The weakness and the threats strategy aims to minimize both weaknesses and threats. It may require that the company may enter into joint venture, retrenchments or even liquidations. Blue ocean strategy. According to blue ocean strategy, it is desirable to create and develop new demand for its products and services rather than competing in an existing demand situation. Moreover, the successful organization will pursue strategies that focus on differentiation and low cost. To capture the blue ocean and to make the competition irrelevant, 4 actions should be considered. First, identify and eliminate those factors that may be unimportant to the buyer. Second, if elimination is not an option, consider reducing those factors. Third, raise or strengthen those factors that are unique. Fourth, create new or unique factors that are wanted by the buyers but are ignored by the competitors. Organizing. We think organizing as the identification and classification of required activities, the grouping of activities necessary for attaining objectives, the assignment of each group to a manager with the authority necessary to supervise, the provision of coordination both vertically and horizontally. The organizing process. Organizing can be seen as a process which requires several fundamentals are to be considered. The structure must reflect the objectives and plans. It must reflect the authority available to an organization's management. The organizing must reflect its environment in which it is to operate. The process must consider the people's limitations and ethnicity. Once these fundamentals are considered, then the organizing process can be initiated in the following logical steps. Step 1. Establishing the organizational objectives. It means first and foremost the organizational goals must be established first in order to have the idea of what, when and how to organize. Step 2. Formulating supporting objectives, policies and plans. This step signifies that after the establishment of organizational objectives, supporting goals, policies and plans are to be devised in order to achieve such organizational objectives. Step 3. Identify, analyze and classification of activities. The third step in the organization process involves identifying, analyzing the necessary activities to accomplish these objectives. Step 4. Grouping of activities to coordinate the resources. In this step, activities are grouped in order to coordinate human and other material resources available and the best way of using them. Step 5. Delegation of authority. In this step, authority will be delegated to the head of each group to perform the activities. Step 6. Tying the group vertically and horizontally. The last step in the organization process signifies bringing together the groups both horizontally and vertically in the management through authority relations and information flows. To sum up, planning involves selecting the missions or goals of an organization. It is a process by which a manager looks to the future and finds out alternative courses of action open to him. But it also includes mentally searching for possibilities of future problems that might appear. Through planning, risk and uncertainty can be reduced. It brings cooperation and coordination and facilitates in economy of operations. Planning is beneficial since it helps the management to focus on the objectives, converts uncertainty into certainty and tackles the increased complexities of business. Planning facilitates effective controlling. Planning involves several steps starting from analysis of external environment to follow up and evaluation. Majorly, there are two forms of plannings, namely strategic and tactical planning. Planning suffers some limitations and there are ways to reduce such limitations and make planning more effective. Strategic planning signifies the consideration of organizational strengths and weaknesses and environmental opportunities and threats. To achieve the organizational goals, Blue Ocean strategy focuses on creation of new demand for the products and services rather than competing for the existing demand situation. Organizing involves several steps which aim at the most efficient manner of coordinating all the resources available for most profitable results.